Saturday, March the 11th. I'm back here again in Bunker 14 in my closet in Japan. Spring has sprung here. Finally. It was as if, I don't know, 28th of February. 28th of February, it was a bit cold. In fact, it was cold enough the way I'm having to wear a balaclava and gloves to cycle to work. And then March 1st, first day of spring, all that were thrown away. I didn't need them. So even here in Japan, the seasons are efficient, which is great. And as you can, I'm in a t-shirt this morning. On the 11th of March. And I can go outside now, 21 degrees. 21 degrees here. Now, I was speaking to my dad yesterday in Bradford, and he just pointed his computer out towards his living room window where he was sat, and it's thicker snow. And he was telling me up in Scotland, minus 16. Oof. Yeah, so he's not going anywhere until at least Monday. He says the thaw starts on Monday. But at the moment, everybody's just sitting tight. So yesterday, Friday the 10th, he was saying, listening on radio, there were a load of schools shut. So the kids will have been happy about that, having a long weekend. But yeah, here I am, t-shirt and shorts. Now, the 11th of February. I don't know if there's anything going to be done around 3 o'clock this afternoon. I'm talking to you now. And it's 11:30 in the morning. 11:30 in the morning. But it's the anniversary of that massive earthquake.
続いております。
今何時ですかね。
Massive earthquake in 2011. I was working in Tokyo at the time. My wife, about 3 weeks earlier, had gone and moved back in with her parents because she were going to have my daughter at the end of March. So we'd packed up the apartment because the rental contract ran out at the end of February. So for 3 weeks, I had to live like a homeless person in Tokyo. So what I'd do is I'd go to work, I'd do my job, and then my job finished at 4, so then I had time to kill. So I had to kill 6 hours. So what I'd do is I'd go for a cycle, I'd go and have something to eat, I'd sit in a family restaurant like Saizeriya or Jonathan's that they have here in Japan, and I'd just stretch it out. Once I'd had something to eat, I would then go to an internet lounge. Now, these internet lounges, you see these transient kids, late teens, early 20s. Obviously, they've got nowhere to live, and they all go in there at about 10:30, 10 o'clock, 10:30, sometimes 11. And you get a little cubicle, and you can have these lay flat cubicles that have got a foot on it. So you go in there, you had your computer in front of you. Maybe some of them, if you paid a bit extra, you had a sofa. But usually just a flat floor. So you go in there, you were 2,000 yen a night, which is, I think at the moment that would be about 12 quid. But the thing is, you had showers in there, so you go and you can You'd have a shower, clean your teeth. There were free tea and coffee, cold drinks. And one of them had an ice cream machine. One of them soft scoop things. Fantastic. So I did 3 weeks of that. Just living like one of them homeless people. Anyway, the last day... Oh, no, it wasn't the last day. It was the second to last week of the school term. And it was a Friday afternoon. About 10 to 2, 3 o'clock. And then all of a sudden, the old building starts rocking. Absolutely rocking. I was on the 3rd floor. And I come barreling down steps. Went outside, and everywhere in neighborhoods in Tokyo, around Japan, you've got these loudspeakers on poles. And I just went outside, and I just saw this loudspeaker just swaying from side to side, about 6 foot either way. And this were going on for a while, a couple of minutes, which is quite long for an earthquake. And it were really, really strong. Now, you find out later that the epicenter's out to sea about 300 miles north of where I am. So those up in Fukushima and Iwate were getting it a lot worse than we were. So after a minute or so, we were told to just stay outside for about 5 or 10 minutes. And then when the aftershocks had passed, I came in, and the boss of the school, as I'm walking in, he's going, Darren, come here, look at this. So I went into his office, and within 10 or 15 minutes, we watched that tsunami come in live on TV up in Fukushima, and it just wiped out villages. So that was 12 years ago today. Yep, and it turns out my daughter turned up 17 days later. Right as rain. So I think they will, even 12 years after it happened, I think they're going to have some sort of remembrance thing, because a lot of people bit the dust that day, and they still haven't found a lot of them. Yep, so that's the anniversary today. I don't know if anybody, I don't know if folk around the world are going to remember it, but it certainly gets remembered here. Now, earthquakes, typhoons are just one of the things you've got to worry about. But I found something in the Japan Times yesterday that chills me to the bone. That grown-ups do this shit. And it's shocking. It's shocking. Now, in the UK and America, and I'm sure Australia, all these Western countries, we've got the Barbie. You know, blonde hair, Barbie and Ken. Now here in Japan, they've got a doll, Rika-chan, her name is. And she's a more classier. She's a classier broad, shall we say. Yeah, she's yeah, it's a nicer doll. It's not as in your face as a Barbie. Now this Rika-chan, really popular with kids. Really popular. As popular as a Barbie is in these Western countries. So what's happened here is they've become really popular. So if you see with her, what I was reading yesterday, and I've got it here. So with her wide eyes and demure, with her wide eyes and demure smile, Rika-chan is sometimes dubbed as the Japan Barbie. And her appeal has spread to all ages. Now, that's the worrying part. So what you've got now is adults are getting into this. Now, since COVID, so COVID kicked off, 3 years ago now. It's been 3 years, and we're still wearing masks in Japan. We were locked up for about 9 months here before we could go back to work. And only on Monday, the 13th of March, 2 days' time, can people finally go bye-bye with the masks. So we've had to wear these masks for 3 years. My youngest kid, is just finishing 3rd grade at his first school. So he'll be going into 4th year in the start of April. And that'll be the first time he's ever gone into school and seen everybody's face, full face, without a mask. And that's been 3 years. Anyway, so what happened over the pandemic is people had all this time on their hands. And rather than do what we do in the UK, where you just buy crates and crates of booze, bottles and bottles of wine, and just get pissed and sit it out, what a lot of people were doing here were getting into these dolls. So you had adults, people in the 30s, the 40s, men, women, getting into Licca-chan. Yeah. So now the COVID plague pandemic is dissipating. What's happened now after everybody goes back to normal is you've got a community of these people, these Licca-chan lifestyle gurus. That's right. They're lifestyle gurus who have taken this Licca-chan lifestyle and they've run with it. They've run with it. Now, this one woman, she is 34 years old. She's 34 years old. And what she's done now is she's decided to give up a job. So she's taken on the job as a homemaker. So she's living at home, and what she is doing now is she's started a Instagram account for Licca-chan. Now, she said in the interview in the Japan Times, what I really wanted to be was, I wanted to run a bakery, I wanted to own a cafe, but my real passion was to be a fashion designer. And she said, well, obviously I can't do this in the real world, but I can live out this dream, this passion of mine, 1/6 of the size. So she's living the life she wants, dressing up a doll at 1/6 of the size. So she's living the life, she's living her dream, 1/6 of the size. Now, she is married. Now, if her husband's not so big in that area, he's laughing all the way to the bank. Because if she loves everything 1/6 of the size, he might as well pack his job in as well and just bring her home 1/6 of his salary. Or give her 1/6 of his salary and blow the rest on hookers and booze. So Murayama spends her time making clothes for her dolls. And she favours denim. And her husband helps to bleach and tear to achieve the distressed look. So she's obviously gone after the pandemic. Right, I'm gonna pack in my job. What are you gonna do? I said, well, I'm gonna be a fashion designer. Oh, you're gonna work from home, right? Okay, so you're gonna design fashion. You're gonna change the direction of how people dress in Japan. Oh, hang on a minute. I'm not changing the way that people dress. I'm going to change the way that Licca-chan dresses. So who's this Licca-chan? Well, let me just show you. And, he's looking round expecting this model to be turning up soon or already dressed up in her stuff, and she just reaches in her bag and comes out with this doll. Now, the distressed look that he's making on these denim jackets and denim pants that he's making for this doll, I wonder if the distressed look looked as distressed as the look on his face. You know, when your wife tells you, when your 34-year-old wife tells you, you know, I'm going to pack in my career and I'm going to be a stay-at-home mum. Not even I got any kids. I'm going to be a stay-at-home mum to this doll. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to photograph her in everyday situations. And I'm gonna make the Japanese public see her as one of us, you know, a normal person, because in real life the company that makes this doll is Takara Tomy Toys. You'll have heard of that back in the West. Tomy Toys. They created this doll and they give her a backstory. So Rika-chan. Her mother is Japanese and her father is an American. So she's not full Japanese. She's what they call in Japan a hafu. So she's half Japanese and half foreign. And I think the dad's a composer. The mum's obviously an housewife and a mother. And they've given her this perfect lifestyle of Tomy. They've given her this backstory. And the kids go away and they make their own story. But this woman, Miss Murayama, she's putting Rika-chan in real life situations. So I'll put a link into the YouTube channel and you can go and have a look for yourself. But I'll put some pictures up, like there's one where she goes to hairdresser with a mate, and her mate won't take a mask off. And in the thing underneath, it says, "Oh, my mate won't take a mask off." What a fucking idiot! But she doesn't say that. But that's how I interpreted it. And then in another one, Rika-chan's got the shits, and she's holding her stomach. But I think I might have read that wrong. She might even be on a monthly cycle. 11 years old. This doll's 11 years old. Yeah, so this stuff like that, and I think in one of them, obviously the dolls had the shits a couple of photographs before, and then she's asking for comments. You know, Rika-chan's got this toilet roll. She's putting it in the toilet roll holder, and she's saying, "How do you hang your toilet roll? Do you have the paper at the back or the paper at the front?" It's a fucking doll. It's a doll. Now, there are a few people you can start to feel sorry for in this situation. I mean, the woman, Murayama-san, 34-year-old, packing in a job to put this doll in real-life situations. Do you feel sorry for her? The husband, who's been roped into this shit, you know, that's come... If he's a salaryman, he's already banging out 16 hours a day at work. So he's getting up in the morning, he's getting off to work, he's coming home, he's absolutely fucked. All he wants to do is get a shower, have a couple of cans, have his tea and go to bed. And then she's got him with, "Here you go, can you just give them a scrub? Give that denim a scrub, put some holes in it, and then I'll be able to get a photograph up tomorrow, you know, while you're working your ass off, you know, bringing home the money so I can do this. You know, if you could just do that." So he's probably getting about 4 or 5 hours sleep a night, getting up in the morning, off to work again. And with these Japanese salarymen, it doesn't stop. You know, you are bringing your work home with him. These fellas are bringing the work home with them, and they're having to do work at home. Meanwhile, He's fucking scrubbing denim to get that distressed look. I mean, he must look up sometimes and maybe catch himself in window or in mirror. How the fuck has my life turned out like this? She were all right before pandemic, and then she decides, yeah, I'm gonna bring this doll to the people. So you feel sorry for you feel sorry for her, you feel sorry for him, or do you feel sorry for the 1.2 million followers that this woman has got on Instagram? So there are 1/10. There's 127 million people in Japan. If 1.2 million people are following this account, whatever that is, it's a hefty percent of the country. And it probably just isn't Japan. It's probably all around the world. But these 1.2 million people are really getting into it. And I followed her as well. I followed her for research purposes. Now, whether I should admit that I spent more than 20 minutes flicking through, and it went past, that time went past pretty quick. So I must have been enjoying myself, you know? So you can see why people go down a rabbit hole with this thing. Now, Rika-chan, it's Rika-chan Real Life. You'll find it on Instagram. And it says she makes mistakes. You know, she makes mistakes. And like I said, she's put her in normal real life conditions and situations. Now, Takara Tome have seen how popular this YouTube channel has got, and other YouTube channels related to it. So they've come in. Other people have seen how popular this woman is, and they've jumped on the bandwagon and opened up their own accounts, and they are gaining on this other account pretty quick. I mean, I've only been looking at them for about a week or so, but the jump in numbers, I'm thinking I'd like a few of them fucking followers. But yeah, these fake Rika-chan real life accounts are so popular here in this country. Now, Takara Tome, who are fiercely protected of this product, and they want to just save the reputation of the doll, they've distanced themselves from these accounts, saying this is nothing to do with us. These accounts are nothing to do with us. We are all for the clean living Rika-chan. As if they don't want their customers or the kids to think that, you know, this doll is shitting itself when it has a dodgy meal, or this doll has periods and has to stumble to the toilet with period cramps, just looking for a tampon to stick up a hole that isn't there. When you think about it, it's a doll, isn't it? So there's no there. So they've distanced themselves from it, and rightly so, because I think when the people that run these accounts, I think it's like a gateway drug. You start dressing up dolls, and then where do you go from there? It's like marijuana. If these accounts are marijuana, it's the gateway drug. It's the gateway drug. And then you start dressing up your cat, or you're dressing up your dog, and your husband's having to make clothes for dog and pets, and then she's coming at you with clothes. You know, let's get you in a little dress. What would Rika-chan wear? Let's pretend you're Rika-chan's boyfriend, and I'll make you an outfit, and then I'll photograph you next to her, and then I'll get it into Photoshop and I'll shrink you down so you look like boyfriend and girlfriend. It's so cute. So you sort of, you're going up, and you gradually over the weeks and the months and the years, you're getting worse and you're getting obsessed. So what Tommy have done, obviously they've distanced themselves from it before the fucking bodies start piling up. But never to miss a beat, these business people that run this company have come out with a new doll, and this new doll is aimed at adults. Fully grown, fully functioning adults. So rather than dressing up Rika-chan, who's an 11-year-old girl, as an adult, I think they have brought out a new doll which is more developed. I think there'll be a curve in the hips, and there'll be a bit up top, I expect. There'll be a bit up top. So when you are putting this doll in these real life situations, it doesn't look fucking weirder than it already is. And I'll say already twice. So there's another woman, Ryoko Bata, 33. She's a graphic designer. And she started dressing her doll because it helped her relieve the stress of the COVID-19 pandemic. She chose this. She chose dressing up a child's toy to relieve her of the panic of COVID-19. I would hope if something scared me that much and I turned to dressing up dolls, I would hope that I would be able to catch myself quick enough to say, you're making clothes for dolls. What are you doing? Face your fear and go and have a cycle or lift them weights there. Don't be dressing up toys. Now, there was another woman that was, and it's women. These three people that were interviewed, they were all women. Now, I can't see fellas stepping forward and admitting that they're doing this. But the third woman, who wanted to remain anonymous, said, I do very long hours at work, so coming home and setting up my photo studio so I can photograph Rika-chan on the evenings and get a photograph out on Instagram before I go to bed really makes my day worthwhile. Now, the very end of the interview, she said, I'd prefer to remain anonymous because if my company find out I do this, I think it would cause a lot of problems. I don't think the problems are at work. I don't think the problems are at work, love. I think the problems are up here in your head. Now, the thing I thought back to with these three women, back in 2011, around when earthquake happened, so it would be about 12 years ago to the day, certainly to the month. Now, when you're in the last month of a pregnancy, for them that haven't had kids, the last month of a pregnancy is fucking boring. Your wife can't do out, your girlfriend can't do out. Obviously, she's sat there with this barrel just on the blocks ready to pop out. So getting out of a chair is a problem. Getting in bath, getting out at bath's a problem. So you've always got to be there. You can't be going out, especially if there's just the two of you, you can't be going out anywhere for going for cycles or going for a run. You've got to be, either she comes with you to supermarket or you go by yourself, but you've got to be quick. Got to be in and out. So you're not doing out. it just turned out that it was school holidays, so I were off anyway. But yeah, you're not doing it. So what we used to do was, this were before streaming, we'd get a box set out from, it was Satire. Satire is a Japanese blockbuster. And we went through House, we did the full lot of House. And then we went on to Criminal Minds. And I think it was season 10, and the one that always stuck out for me, out of all, if you watch Criminal Minds, it's absolutely fantastic. And we went through the lot up to 2011 or 2010. And the one that stuck out for me was Uncanny Valley. And in Uncanny Valley, there were this woman, she were a bit Kathy Bates-ish in Misery. And she were a nurse. And what she did was she kidnapped folk. And then she took them back to her house. And she posed them. She kept them alive. But they were paralysed. They were completely paralysed. And all they could do was move their eyes. And she's got these 3 women sat round a table having a tea party. And they're all hooked up to a drip. And she's dressed them up like dolls.
Victim is Mary Newsom, abducted 2 months ago.
What?
These aren't hair extensions.
Maybe her hair was too brittle.
But look at this.
Are those stitches?
On her scalp. She sewed this in.
Don't leave me. Let us go. I can't.
Hi. My name's Spencer. I'm with the FBI.
But when I moved out, I had to take my friends with me. I couldn't leave them behind.
You want them back?
Can I?
Yeah. Yeah, do you want to play with them? Clear, we need medical in here.
And it's fucking frightening. It's absolutely frightening. It's the one 12 years on, after all the bodies that stacked up in Criminal Minds, it were at least one a week. But this one, this Uncanny Valley one, I urge you to go watch it because it's a frightener. And yeah, she's got these real people, these real women, dressed up as dolls all in the makeup, the Aunt Sally makeup, dressed in dolls' clothes, just sat round having a tea party. Now you've heard this here first. COVID's finished. These women are still dressing up children's toys. They're dragging their husbands in to help them. Something's going to happen in a few years' time. You know, you get the husband's been doing this for a few years now. What about if we do this? What about if we coax a woman into our house? You know, and we paralyse her with drugs, and then we set her up on a drip, and then we can pose her in a tea party and take photos. Won't that be fun? And he's like, "You're joking, aren't you?" No, let's just try it once and see if it works. And then next thing you know, you've got about 7 of them sat about this table in a 1LDK. And the husband's like, well, how did it fucking come to this? How has it come to this? Yeah, that's what'll happen. Mark my words. And you do the timestamp, 11th of March, 2023. 3 or 4 years when it's progressed to kidnapping people on the streets and posing them in your room, in your apartment. She's dragged the husband in. You can just see him getting led out of the apartment in handcuffs. And then all of a sudden, these fucking women that are dressed as dolls, one by one, they're brought out on stretchers and whisked off in an ambulance. So all you people out there, all you women out there, if there's a fella on dance floor at a club, oh, what's your star sign? Really? Do you want to go get a drink? Think on. In about 5 hours' time, you're going to be sat round with 3 other people that can't do anything but move their eyes, posed in a tea party with this mad woman who started off dressing dolls 3 years ago, just after COVID finished. I've warned you. You can have that for free. And I will see you all next week. Like and subscribe. Thank you very much for listening. And remember, don't be dressing fucking dolls up if you're over 12 years old. That's my advice. See you soon.